At this very moment, somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, an American destroyer is tracking aircraft hundreds of miles away. In the Red Sea, another is on alert for incoming missiles and drones. And beneath the waves, submarines are quietly listening for the sound of their propellers. These ships rarely make headlines. They aren't as famous as aircraft carriers. They don't receive the attention given to stealth bombers or fighter jets. Yet when a crisis erupts anywhere on Earth, destroyers are often the first warships to arrive. Fast, heavily armed, and packed with some of the most advanced technology ever placed aboard a naval vessel. Today's destroyers can shoot down ballistic missiles, hunt submarines, launch precision strikes, and protect entire carrier strike groups. Some have already seen combat, others represent the future of naval warfare. Today, we're counting down 10 U.S. destroyers you need to know about right now and why these ships could play a major role in any future conflict.
And may this ship do our duty for many years.
Every legendary class begins with a first ship. For the U.S. Navy's most successful destroyer class, that ship was USS Arleigh Burke. Commissioned in 1991, the vessel was named after Admiral Arleigh Burke, one of the most respected naval officers in American history. The arrival of DDG-51 marked a major turning point for the Navy. The Cold War was ending. Technology was advancing rapidly, and the Navy needed a warship capable of handling multiple threats at once. USS Arleigh Burke delivered exactly that. The ship became the first destroyer equipped with the Aegis Combat System, an advanced network that combines powerful radar, computers, and missile systems into a single integrated defense platform. At the heart of that system was the SPY-1 radar, capable of tracking hundreds of targets simultaneously. This allowed the destroyer to detect aircraft, missiles, and surface vessels far beyond the horizon. The ship also introduced the vertical launch system, giving it the ability to fire a wide variety of weapons from below deck. Instead of carrying a few dedicated launchers, the ship could rapidly deploy anti-air missiles, anti-submarine weapons, and long-range strike missiles. The design proved so successful that the Navy never stopped building it. More than 30 years later, new versions of the Arleigh Burke class are still entering service. Few warships in history have had such a lasting impact on naval warfare.
This is the USS Winston Churchill coming from Norfolk, Virginia.
Most U.S. destroyers are named after American military heroes. USS Winston S. Churchill is different. Named after Britain's wartime prime minister, the ship represents one of the strongest military partnerships in modern history. Commissioned in 2001, Churchill serves as a symbol of the special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. In fact, the ship is unique because it is authorized to fly both the American and British naval ensigns. But Churchill is far more than a diplomatic gesture. Like other Flight II Arleigh Burke destroyers, the ship carries a formidable arsenal. Its vertical launch system can deploy a wide range of missiles. Its radar allows it to monitor large areas of ocean and airspace. Its helicopters extend the ship's reach far beyond the horizon. Over the years, Churchill has participated in NATO exercises, anti-submarine operations, and maritime security missions. The destroyer has spent significant time operating in the Atlantic and Mediterranean, regions that remain strategically important today. One of the reasons Churchill deserves a place on this list is because it highlights a reality often overlooked in discussions about naval power. Modern destroyers don't operate alone. They function as part of international coalitions. Whether protecting shipping lanes or participating in multinational exercises, ships like Churchill demonstrate how naval cooperation remains essential in maintaining global security. Some destroyers are known for cutting-edge technology. Others are known for where they've been. USS Kidd belongs firmly in the second category. Named after Rear Admiral Isaac Kidd, the highest-ranking American officer killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor, the ship carries a legacy that stretches back to one of the most important days in U.S. naval history. Commissioned in 2007, USS Kidd quickly became one of the Navy's most active destroyers. The ship has conducted counter-piracy operations off the coast of Somalia. It has escorted commercial shipping through dangerous waters. It has participated in anti-smuggling missions and freedom of navigation patrols. In many ways, Kidd represents the daily reality of destroyer operations. Most naval missions don't involve major battles. Instead, they require persistent presence, showing the flag, protecting trade routes, responding to crises before they escalate, like other Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. Kidd carries advanced radar systems, anti-aircraft missiles, anti-submarine weapons, and a powerful 5-inch deck gun. Its MH-60 Seahawk helicopters give it additional capabilities against submarines and surface threats. But perhaps the most important thing about USS Kidd is what it demonstrates. Destroyers aren't just weapons platforms, they are instruments of national policy. Their presence alone can influence events, reassure allies, and deter adversaries. And few ships have spent more time doing exactly that than USS Kidd.
Today, hundreds gathered to watch the christening of the USS Rafael Peralta.
Every destroyer carries weapons. Some carry history. USS Rafael Peralta carries both. Commissioned in 2017, the ship is named after Marine Sergeant Rafael Peralta, who was posthumously awarded the Navy Cross for his actions during the Battle of Fallujah in Iraq. According to eyewitness accounts, Peralta used his body to shield fellow Marines from a grenade blast, sacrificing himself in the process. The destroyer, named in his honor, reflects that same spirit of service and sacrifice, but beyond its name, USS Rafael Peralta represents the maturity of the Arleigh Burke design. By the time this ship entered service, the Navy had spent decades refining the class. Lessons learned from operations in the Persian Gulf, Mediterranean, Pacific, and Red Sea had all influenced the design. The result was one of the most capable destroyers ever built. Like other Flight 2A destroyers, Rafael Peralta features a helicopter hangar capable of supporting 2 MH-60 Seahawk helicopters. That may not sound impressive until you realize those helicopters dramatically expand the ship's reach. A destroyer can only see so far with its own sensors, but helicopters allow it to search vast stretches of ocean, track submarines, and engage threats hundreds of miles away. The ship's Aegis combat system remains one of its greatest strengths. The ability to detect, track, and engage multiple targets simultaneously makes ships like Rafael Peralta essential components of carrier strike groups. In a future conflict, destroyers like this would likely form the protective shield around America's most valuable naval assets. And, because of that responsibility, they remain among the most important warships in the fleet. Some names become legends. John Finn is one of them. On December 7, 1941, as Japanese aircraft attacked Pearl Harbor, Chief Aviation Ordnanceman John Finn fought back despite being seriously wounded. For his extraordinary courage, he became the first sailor to receive the Medal of Honor during World War II. More than 70 years later, the Navy honored his legacy by naming one of its newest destroyers after him. Commissioned in 2017, USS John Finn represents the continuing evolution of the Arleigh Burke class. Although it shares many similarities with earlier ships, it benefits from decades of technological refinement. Its radar systems are more capable, its electronic warfare systems are more advanced, and its communications equipment allows it to operate seamlessly within modern naval networks. But what makes John Finn particularly important today is where it operates. The ship frequently conducts missions throughout the Indo-Pacific region. This vast area has become one of the most strategically important regions on Earth. China's growing naval power, territorial disputes in the South China Sea, increasing military activity around Taiwan. All of these factors place enormous importance on maintaining a strong naval presence. Destroyers like John Finn often serve as the visible face of that presence. They participate in exercises with allies, conduct freedom of navigation operations, and demonstrate America's commitment to maintaining open sea lanes. In many cases, the mere presence of a destroyer can send a powerful strategic message. That may sound simple, but throughout history, naval power has often been about being present before a crisis begins, and few ships perform that mission better than USS John Finn. If every other destroyer on this list looks familiar, USS Zumwalt looks like it arrived from the future. The first thing people notice is the shape. Instead of the traditional design used by most warships, Zumwalt features an angular, stealth-focused hull intended to reduce radar detection. From certain angles, the massive ship can appear significantly smaller on radar than it actually is, and that's remarkable considering the vessel displaces nearly 16,000 tons. That makes it substantially larger than most destroyers currently in service. When the program began, the Navy envisioned a revolutionary warship. Zumwalt would support troops ashore using advanced long-range guns. It would feature cutting-edge automation, and it would introduce technologies that could shape the future fleet. But things didn't go entirely according to plan. Costs increased dramatically. The Navy reduced the number of planned ships, and the advanced gun system became difficult to justify after the cancellation of its specialized ammunition. Critics quickly labeled the program a failure. Yet that may not be the whole story, because today, USS Zumwalt is entering a new chapter. The Navy is transforming the ship into a platform for hypersonic weapons. These weapons travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5 and are designed to strike targets at extraordinary distances. If successful, Zumwalt could become one of the most powerful strike platforms ever deployed by the U.S. Navy. The ship also possesses one of the most advanced power systems ever installed aboard a warship. Its integrated electric drive generates enormous amounts of electrical power. That capability could prove critical as future naval weapons become increasingly energy-intensive. Whether Zumwalt ultimately succeeds or fails remains a topic of debate. But one thing is certain: no destroyer in the world looks quite like it, and few represent the future of naval warfare as clearly as USS Zumwalt. When USS Michael Mansour entered service in 2019, it immediately became one of the most unusual destroyers ever built. Like its sister ship, Zumwalt, Michael Mansour belongs to the Navy's highly controversial DDG-1000 program. But unlike traditional destroyers, this ship was designed around entirely different principles: reduced radar visibility, advanced automation, massive electrical generation capacity, and a focus on future technologies rather than current threats. The ship is named after Navy SEAL Michael Mansour, who was awarded the Medal of Honor for sacrificing his life to save fellow SEALs during combat in Iraq in 2006. His courage became legendary within the U.S. military, making him one of the most respected heroes of the post-9/11 era. The destroyer bearing his name reflects that legacy. At nearly 610 feet long and displacing approximately 16,000 tons, Michael Mansour is significantly larger than most destroyers. Its stealthy, tumble-home hull gives it a futuristic appearance, unlike any other warship currently operating. Inside, advanced automation reduces crew requirements. While an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer typically carries around 300 sailors, Michael Mansour operates with a considerably smaller crew. That reduction lowers long-term operating costs while increasing efficiency. However, the ship's true importance lies in its future potential. The enormous electrical power generated by its integrated power system makes it a prime candidate for future technologies. Directed energy weapons, advanced sensors, and next-generation missile systems all may eventually find a home aboard ships like Michael Mansour. For now, the vessel serves as both a warship and a floating test bed for technologies that could shape the Navy of tomorrow, and that alone makes it one of the most important destroyers in the fleet. The final member of the Zumwalt class may also be the most important. USS Lyndon B. Johnson entered service in 2024 and represents the culmination of everything the Navy learned from the DDG-1000 program. Named after America's 36th president, the ship differs slightly from its sister vessels. By the time construction reached this final hull, the Navy had already begun rethinking the future role of the Zumwalt class. The result is a ship uniquely positioned for modernization. Many analysts believe Lyndon B. Johnson will become one of the first destroyers specifically optimized for conventional prompt strike weapons, the Navy's hypersonic missile program. Hypersonic weapons represent a major leap forward in military technology. Traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5, they drastically reduce reaction times and present enormous challenges for defensive systems. For naval planners, that capability could fundamentally alter the balance of power at sea. And Lyndon B. Johnson may become one of the first warships capable of deploying such weapons operationally. The ship also benefits from lessons learned throughout the DDG-1000 program. Software improvements, operational experience, and advances in electronics have all contributed to making the vessel more capable than its predecessors. For years, critics argued that the Zumwalt program represented a failed experiment, but history has a habit of surprising people. Many technologies initially viewed as failures later became game changers. Whether the Zumwalt class ultimately falls into that category remains to be seen, but if it does, Lyndon B. Johnson could be remembered as the ship that finally unlocked its full potential.
Lucas, the Navy's first Flight 3 DDG.
If you want to see the future of the Arleigh Burke class, look no further than USS Jack H. Lucas. Commissioned in 2023, this destroyer is the first Flight 3 Arleigh Burke class vessel to enter service. And while it may look similar to earlier Burkes, the technology inside tells a very different story. The centerpiece of the ship is the SPY-6 radar system. This radar represents one of the most significant advancements in naval sensing technology in decades. Compared to older systems, SPY-6 can detect smaller targets at greater distances while simultaneously tracking far more objects. That capability becomes increasingly important as threats evolve. Modern navies must deal with drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, stealth aircraft, and electronic warfare. The SPY-6 was designed specifically to meet those challenges. Many naval experts consider it the single most important upgrade ever made to the Arleigh Burke class. And because destroyers serve as the primary air defense platforms within carrier strike groups, better radar directly translates into greater fleet survivability. The ship is named after Jack H. Lucas, the youngest Marine ever awarded the Medal of Honor during World War II. At just 17 years old, Lucas threw himself onto enemy grenades during the Battle of Iwo Jima, saving the lives of fellow Marines. The destroyer carrying his name embodies that same spirit of courage and determination. As geopolitical tensions continue to rise around the world, ships like Jack H. Lucas is expected to form the backbone of American naval operations for decades to come. And that is why it earns the number 2 spot on our list. The most important destroyer in America today isn't necessarily the most famous. It's the one that represents where the Navy is heading next. That ship is USS Ted Stevens. Named after longtime U.S. Senator Ted Stevens, a World War II veteran and one of the strongest advocates for military readiness in American political history, the destroyer represents the next stage of the Flight 3 evolution. Like Jack H. Lucas, Ted Stevens incorporates the revolutionary SPY-6 radar, but it also benefits from continuous improvements made throughout the construction process. The result is one of the most advanced destroyers ever built. Its mission profile reflects the changing nature of warfare. Modern destroyers must do more than simply defend themselves. They must operate as nodes within a larger network, sharing information, tracking threats, coordinating missile defenses, and integrating with aircraft, satellites, submarines, and allied warships. In many ways, Ted Stevens represents the Navy's vision for 21st century naval warfare, a highly connected warship capable of fighting in multiple domains simultaneously. Its missile systems allow it to engage aircraft, ships, submarines, and land targets. Its radar provides unprecedented situational awareness, and its advanced computing systems enable rapid decision-making during complex operations. For these reasons, many experts believe Flight 3 destroyers will remain among the world's most capable surface combatants well into the 2050s. And right now, few ships embody that future more clearly than USS Ted Stevens. For over a century, destroyers have evolved alongside naval warfare itself. They began as small ships designed to protect fleets from torpedo boats. Today, they are among the most sophisticated combat platforms ever built. From the battle-proven USS Arleigh Burke to the futuristic USS Zumwalt to the cutting-edge Flight 3 destroyers now entering service, these ships represent the past, present, and future of American sea power. They defend aircraft carriers, protect global shipping lanes, track enemy submarines, intercept missiles, and stand ready to respond to crises anywhere on Earth. The next major naval conflict, if one ever occurs, will almost certainly involve destroyers like these. Because while aircraft carriers may dominate the headlines, destroyers remain the ships that make modern fleets possible. And right now, these 10 destroyers are among the most important warships sailing anywhere in the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into America's most important destroyers, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And let us know in the comments, which destroyer do you think deserves the #1 spot? Until next time, thanks for watching Fair Winds and Following Seas.